Right now, many people are being confronted with their deepest fears in a way they never have been before. Death, isolation, separation, homelessness, financial ruin, loss of loved ones, loss of freedom, all the big ones right here, unavoidable and refusing to go away. What's your biggest fear? For me, it's not death or the death of loved ones. I've already made peace with that. On the 31st of May 2013, I stood at the bus stop in the little village we were living in at the time. I was standing with Dave and his 2-year-old daughter, Abby Rose, watching that little blue bus trundle away towards school with our 2 eldest sons. We stood there silent, absolutely awed, as that bus passed directly under the most brilliant, vibrant, complete rainbow that stretched across the entire village. It was astonishingly beautiful. And that was the last time we saw Dave's son Marley alive. He died of a brain aneurysm that morning. 8 years old, and he was gone. The village was devastated. Everyone knew Marley. At his memorial, the crowd gathered, spilling out into the car park. Children and adults alike sat on the floor. There were that many. It was heartbreaking and it was devastating, and it was also one of the most stunning examples of life and death and grief done well. Because after the memorial, Marley's parents, Dave and Raquel, chose to celebrate his short life with a 2-day festival. They were jumping castles and soccer pitches and live music and feasting and wish lanterns and fireworks. Together, we grieved and wept and played and danced through the pain. Instead of hiding away, they called their people to them. Connection was the medicine that we all needed. And we honoured Marley through an unrivaled celebration of his existence. I learned then that life is uncertain. There are no guarantees. There never have been, and there never will be. So when COVID hit Australia in 2020, it wasn't death that shook me to my bones. It was loss of freedom. It was when those borders started to shut that my anxiety skyrocketed. I panicked, caught between running and freezing, my heart hammering in my chest. I barely slept for weeks. I exercised excessively to cope. The fear ran through my entire body. It wasn't just confined to my mind. Everything was in chaos within and around me, and I was desperately looking for an escape that I couldn't find. This is not to downplay anyone else's experience. This is just mine. But see, fear is like that. We each have our own deepest fears that send us into fight, flight, or freeze. They're not wrong, they're not right, they just are. But when they hit hard, and we lose the ability to think clearly, let alone creatively. And yet it's creative thinking that is the key to navigating uncertainty. And ultimately, this is what I did. I moved from chaos and fear to creativity and possibility. And as a result, my whole world opened up. I now have more time, more abundance, more opportunities, deeper connections than I did at the beginning of 2020. Ultimately, for me and for a lot of people I know, COVID has created opportunities that we never knew existed. I mean, this is a TEDx talk, and I've wanted to do one of these since they started. Yeah, it's crazy. Times it is scary. But as Margaret Drabble says, when nothing is certain, anything is possible. But how do we move from fear and break through into possibility where all our obstacles seem to just lose their power? I have found that I need to access my inner calm, move through my emotions and face my fears in order to access the gold mine of possibility that lies in the midst of uncertainty. And I would love to share with you 3 keys that work really well. They are simple, they are effective, and they are available to just about anyone without even needing to leave your bedroom. Breathe, move, connect. Simple, right? But they each come with a twist. I am going to suggest that you breathe less, not more. That you move your way through emotions and that you connect in a way that leaves you inspired. So, breathe. Did you know that you can control stress, panic, and anxiety just with your breath? This is because aside from focusing on something other than your fear, the very act of breathing itself has a direct impact on your nervous system. A 2018 study titled How Breath Control Can Change Your Life noted that slow, deep nasal breathing switches off the fight and flight response and switches on the rest and digest response. Patrick McEwen, breathing expert, author, and founder of the Potato Clinic International, says this: shut your mouth and breathe only through your nose and make your breathing light, slow, and deep. One client came to me. She was suffering severe panic attacks, taking multiple antipsychotic medications daily just to deal with life. I taught her one simple technique. After about a week, she came back to me. Oh my goodness, she said, this stuff is amazing. I just stopped a panic attack in 10 minutes. Those things normally last hours. This woman not only gained control of her panic attacks, but she actually started changing her life and began living her passion. Thriving. 2, move. Have you ever heard of runner's high? So this is when people experience not only less pain and anxiety, but they actually feel euphoria from endurance exercise. New research from Germany suggests that this is caused by the body's endocannabinoid system, which is a system that's designed to maintain body harmony, but it's also able to give us feelings of euphoria and relaxation, a bit like marijuana does, but without the marijuana. Endurance exercise literally helps you get high on your own supply. It seems to happen when the mind quietens down and the body just moves, which is why it's more common with endurance athletes, because that's when there's enough time for this to happen. So keep that in mind as I tell you about my favorite form of movement ever, ecstatic dance. Yes, you can dance your way to ecstasy. With ecstatic or conscious dance, there are no movement, there are no steps or style to follow. It's where your body just moves the way it wants to in response to the music. Another study from this year, 2021, surveyed over 1,000 conscious dancers. They found that 95% of those with depression, anxiety, and trauma experience therapeutic results. Alice Walker says, hard times require furious dancing. And this is because music has a way of helping us access, express, and more importantly, move through our emotions and beyond to where we want to go. You can literally use it to move from one emotional state to another. I've worked with this to redesign my business, my lifestyle, upgrade my relationships, reimagine my kids' schooling, all sorts of things. This is a super powerful practice. Literally in the space of 1 hour, I can go from feeling frightened and angry and anxious to feeling empowered, inspired, and free. Honestly, this practice can change your life. Connect. Brené Brown, foremost researcher on courage, shame, vulnerability, and empathy, says connection is why we're here. We are hardwired to connect with others. It's what gives purpose and meaning to our lives. And without it, there is suffering. Matthew Lieberman, a social neurobiologist and author, says that social adaptations of the human brain are what's central to making humans the most successful species on Earth. It seems that it's connection and collaboration that have meant humans have not only survived, but thrived. The last 2 years have seen a lot of people hit the floor. But humans have always been able to adapt and innovate. This is our superpower. Innovation seems to happen at that sweet spot when challenge and inspiration meet. So when our world around us is full of challenge, we need connections that leave us inspired. I'm part of 2 groups that are purpose designed for this. We both meet weekly, one in person, one online. One is for life generally, and one is for supporting each other in our own businesses. Neither existed before COVID. I barely knew half the people beforehand, but they are like food for my mind and my heart. They have helped me not only survive the uncertainty, but to thrive in it. Yep, COVID has been a full system disrupt. But in amongst the chaos and uncertainty, we have the opportunity to create a whole new world. Imagine if the world was full of people living their lives to their fullest potential. What do you love? Breathe to find your center. Move your way through your limitations, connect to support and inspire, and open yourself up to the possibility of living life reimagined on your terms, because you are the one you have been waiting for.